Have you ever had one of those days when exhaustion clouds your judgment and the road home seems like an endless journey? Picture this. I was driving back from a grueling day at work in the city, my house nestled comfortably in the suburbs, a decent distance away. The clock struck 10 p.m., and I found myself navigating through the dimly lit, desolate single-lane highways that stretched beyond the city limits. On this particular night, weariness clung to me like an unwelcome shadow, although there was no specific reason for my extra fatigue. As I approached my house, only half an hour away, a strange obstacle materialized through the dim glow of streetlights. A tree lay sprawled across the entire road. Bewilderment seized me. There were no recent storms, no signs of high winds, and certainly no trace of this obstruction earlier in the day. I decided to investigate. Leaving my car on but safely in park, I stepped out into the night and examined the mysterious fallen tree. To my surprise, it extended from both edges of the forest, blocking any attempt to circumvent it. As annoyance began to replace confusion, I realized that the closest alternate route meant retracing my steps by 15 minutes, adding an additional hour to my already prolonged journey. While pondering my options, a sudden flash of light on the other side of the fallen tree caught my attention. It wasn't the headlights of an approaching car. The vehicle must have been stationary and only just switched on its lights. Peering through the branches, I discerned a figure. As the door opened and closed, footsteps echoed towards me. "Hello," I called out, hoping to break the awkward silence. The response was a mumble, more to themselves than to me. The branches rustled, and a man with a short beard and a buzz cut emerged. His thick jacket gave him an imposing presence. I retreated towards my car, hoping to diffuse any tension. The man, however, exhibited no sign of acknowledgement, continuing to approach with an unnerving blank expression. Suddenly, my gut churned with unease. He increased his pace, almost jogging towards me. Fumbling, I hastily entered my car, anxiety settling in. The man reached my window, devoid of any friendly expression, just an empty gaze. As he knocked on the window, I nervously inquired about his intentions, but he remained silent, mumbling to himself. His knocking grew aggressive, escalating to pounding fists on the window. Panicking, I shifted the car into reverse, hearing a thud as the door latch resisted his force. I spun the car around, driving away without checking my mirrors, my focus solely on escaping the peculiar encounter. At the bypass, I reported the incident, but unsurprisingly, the man and his car had vanished. In the aftermath, workers clearing the fallen tree revealed it had been deliberately cut down, raising suspicions of malicious intent. Whether the mysterious man was the culprit remained unknown. Subsequent journeys along that route revealed no repeats of the bizarre encounter, yet an inexplicable alertness lingered every night I drove home from work. Have you ever found yourself immersed in the eerie quietude of the night, the only company being the glow of streetlights and the hum of your car's engine? This story begins with me, a college student juggling academics and a part-time gig as an Uber Eats driver. It was after my evening classes, probably around 11 p.m., with no early commitments the next day, making it an ideal night for a late-night food delivery spree. At 1 a.m., an unusual order came in, a grocery delivery from a 7-Eleven to an address nestled 15 minutes away. The directions guided me through a labyrinth of neighborhoods, extending to the back, ultimately leading to a gravel road at the edge of the woods. As I approached, all I could discern were safety cones and construction equipment, with no comforting glow of streetlights. Undeterred, I cautiously navigated the path, my brights piercing the darkness until I reached the last turn. This turn, however, was more of a trail than a road, casting shadows on my confidence. Scrutinizing the map, it insisted that the destination was down this enigmatic path. Squinting into the darkness, I discerned a structure at the end, resembling a house but exuding an unsettling aura. My headlights revealed more such structures, dimly visible in the obscurity, forming a community of seemingly unfinished houses. Rationalizing that the address on my GPS might be one of the completed dwellings, I veered towards the nearest one, a solitary house in an empty cul-de-sac. Up close, it became apparent that the construction was not entirely finished, adding a layer of confusion to the situation. Suppressing my unease, I parked, carrying the groceries to the front door. The house was shrouded in silence, darkness enveloping its entirety. As I knocked, my discomfort heightened. Placing the bags down, I turned to leave. Yet, a movement caught my peripheral vision, a fleeting presence by the trees. I halted, staring into the dark woods. Whatever it was seemed motionless now. Hastily returning to my car, I ignited the engine. As the headlights illuminated the surroundings, a figure emerged, a man, standing exactly where I had glimpsed movement in the woods. With a pounding heart, I reversed without glancing at the road. A series of thuds rocked my car as I backed up, first the back tires, then the front. My adrenaline-fueled escape prevented me from identifying the cause, but I soon realized my car was trembling and my tires were flat. In the safety of the neighborhood, I pulled over, shaken but unharmed. I promptly called the police, who investigated the provided address and the Uber Eats account. The address led to an unfinished property, uninhabited, and the account appeared to be a disposable one. Along the path, they discovered large sharpened metal objects, strategically placed to trap unsuspecting drivers. The intentions behind this sinister setup remained unclear, perhaps an attempted robbery or something more nefarious. Luckily, I escaped unscathed, spared from the mysterious fate that awaited me in those eerie woods. Can you imagine the desolation of driving through a state in the dead of night, surrounded by endless fields of crops, far from the comfort of city lights? This was my reality one fateful night, around 3 a.m., after attending an annual work meeting that ran late. The location was a good 8 hours away from my workplace, and the journey through the rural expanse was both monotonous and isolating. As I traversed the deserted highways, the only solace being the bare road stretching ahead, an unexpected break in the sea of crops caught my attention. To the right of the road, a car was wedged deep into the fields, as if it had careened off the road, coming to an abrupt halt. It struck me as an odd sight, but I couldn't fathom how navigating into a crop field would pose significant harm. The car was lifeless, not running, suggesting its occupants had already been picked up or had found assistance. Continuing my journey, just a minute or two down the road, a set of headlights